This is the Roundup.
Well, Senator, great to see you back here in Guthrie. Talk about flying into Guthrie. I know that hopefully you saw some of the upgrades to the airport, but just talk about being back here in Guthrie.
Well, you know, I love Guthrie. All the history here, a lot of people. How many people out there know that we used to be the capital here?
Yeah.
They don't know it. And the other thing about Guthrie, and I'd say this around the state to other places, no one has done a better job, or is really as good a job, on their downtown area and preserving things as Guthrie has. Then, of course, I use your airport all the time. I know that that's how I get to Edmond and some of the other areas, and they've done a good job of controlling that. And so they finally come down on their gas prices,
yes.
So that helps.
We're going to start with the American Health Plan. 217, 213 in the House, a small victory there, small victory on Trump. Now it's going to the World Series, your department.
Well, yeah, let me tell you though, there are a lot more votes for that than are reflected by the vote count. Because if that had gotten close, there are probably as many as 20 members who said, well, if you need my vote, I'll vote for it because we need to have it. That's no way, that's a kind of an indictment on the system, yeah. But nonetheless, that's a reality. See what happened on the Obamacare. That was a big issue, and the majority of people don't like the provisions in Obamacare. Well, the House actually had a bill that they introduced, and a group of the conservatives, and I can say this because I've been ranked as the most conservative member more than any other of the United States senators, and I'm very critical of them for what they did because you can always get media attention if you say no. Right. And so what they were really saying, and I'm talking about the conservatives in the House, they're saying, well, we just like Obamacare better. And all of a sudden they realized that message was getting out. So they rallied around it, and here's where we are. There are a lot of good provisions in the bill that passed the House yesterday. And that's good in terms of the mandates, in terms of the taxes and all that. But don't spend a whole lot of time looking at that. And the reason is, it's not going to look like that long. It has to go to the Senate now. There are already 100 amendments that are filed in the Senate. Probably they'll consider as many as maybe 20, maybe 10 Republican, 10 Democrat amendments. Then it goes back to the House. So don't be too concerned if there's not everything you want or if there's something you'd be critical of, because that's not what it's going to look like.
What would this new plan do for people in Guthrie, people who work at the downtown shops, people who work at nursing homes? What will this do for you?
I think that it's the whole health care, and people know some of the objections that they had in Obamacare were the mandates. The mandates are going to be eliminated. Some of the objections they had are the taxes. Those taxes are going to be changed or eliminated. And if you look at it's hard to answer your question because it's not going to be that bill in the final analysis. It's that bill today until next week when it comes to the Senate, and there are going to be a lot of changes. But I think it's going to be just a lot more choice of your own physician, choice of your own health care. And I think I have no doubt in my mind that the man in the street in Guthrie, America, are going to be very happy with the changes from Obamacare. The main thing that we really need to talk about immediately, the omnibus spending bill. And the thing I've given a list of those things that are in that bill, and they're going to be good. The main thing being, and let me be critical of those individuals who voted against it, because the main reason to vote for it was what has happened to our military and beefing up the military again. Now, I know it sounds partisan to say this, but under Obama, he disarmed America. And any of the people in the military will tell you that was a problem. Now we have the refunding of our military, and we have they're all rallying, and of course a lot of the things that are in this omnibus bill, and that kept us also from closing down government. And the other is what the House did on health care. Now, you mentioned something else that I'm proud of you, because not many people are aware that one of the big things that had the problems that we had during the last administration was in my committee that I chaired, because during the Obama administration, I don't say this critically of Obama, because liberals like overregulation. And I'll give you an example. If you talk to Tom Buchanan, who's the head of the Farm Bureau in Oklahoma, he'll tell you the thing that upsets the farmers and ranchers in Oklahoma and throughout America more than anything else are the overregulation in terms of water. Water has always been regulated by the states. And the liberals want to regulate everything at the federal government. So Obama, one of his many regulations was to take that over from the states, have that go to the federal government. Well, one of the regulations that were changed by this president that is on the long list of regulations that he's changed, some 30 of them already, is to make sure that doesn't go to the federal government. So, and a lot of people, if you're a banker, it's you have the banking regulations that they'll tell you that were just killing the financial institutions and the farmers. I just came from the Home Builders Association. Their concern was on some of the regulations that cause housing costs to go up, but just regulations in general. And I'm just very happy that this president said he's going to attack the resolutions. He told me that back in October, and sure enough, he's doing what he said he'd do.
You mentioned President Trump, 100+ days now counting, probably the most focused presidential thing I've ever seen. I don't know about you, but talk about what you think so far and how he's handled everything.
Well, here's the thing. He's done what he said he was going to do. A lot of people didn't like what he said he was going to do, but he's doing it. And if you look at the regulations, that's a long list of them that he actually has done, and that's now a reality. But he also said he's concerned about the border. Well, I was down on the border and found that this is a shocker. No, this actually hadn't been announced yet. But I found out down there, according to the Border Patrol, that 64% of the illegal crossings have stopped now as a result of the fact that we have a president who says he's going to do these before he's even done it. Now that's pretty incredible. Now we do know that we have to have a workers program, and we need to have some of the labor, and there's a way of doing that, and we're going to do it. But in terms of the illegal drugs that are coming across and all that, he's had a huge impact already. Now whether it's going to end up being a fence or not, I can't tell you. I'm not the fan that some people are of that, but nonetheless, it's already working. So that's a big thing. The problem that they have with Obamacare, that's something that just has happened. So this president has kind of gotten in. Oh, the military is the big thing, by the way. True liberals don't really think you need to concentrate on the military that much anyway. In fact, I've been the ranking member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, so it drives me crazy to sit there and listen to people say there's no threat. We have a greater threat facing America today than we ever have in history, and it's because it's not like it used to be. Countries now are developing, and I'm talking about Iran and Yemen and Iraq and Syria. All these countries are developing not just a bomb, but a delivery system. And the most dangerous one is North Korea, because the guy who runs that country is a nuthead. And the guy is totally unpredictable. And if he could wake up some morning, if he has a delivery system that can reach Guthrie, Oklahoma, he could deploy that and wouldn't hesitate doing it. So I look back wistfully at the days of the Cold War when he had, two responsible parties that both realize that mutual assured destruction means something. It doesn't mean anything to these people. So that's the threat that's there. We now have a president who's rebuilding the military. We are coming up with very good defensive weapons. We're going to be helping our allies like Ukraine, which our previous administration refused to do. So we're back to the point now where you can no longer say that our friends don't trust us and our enemies don't fear us. That's come to an end. The last thing I'll mention that he's done is successfully stop the war on fossil fuels. Obama had a war on fossil fuels, which are coal, oil, and gas. Those things are happening right now. We have our enemies know that we are something to be feared. This thing that the president had to do in Syria, immediately people started criticizing. Everyone, without exception, every one of our allies said we did the right thing. You can't use chemical weapons.
It used to be in the state capitol, the House of Reps. You got a lot on your plate nationally, but if you take a look back at the Oklahoma and what they're going through with the budget and all the teacher deals, are you able to keep up with that and just?
I'm really not. Yeah, but it's as if this is something that's brand new. It's not.
Right.
When I was in the United States in the state Senate, Yeah, I've lived these problems for a long time. It's always a crisis, and you know what I want the governor to do is do what I did when I was mayor of Tulsa. I said I'm going to see to it that government doesn't grow more, and so I said for 6 years, I want to cut 6 years from now. I want to have the same number of employees and the same budget we had, and we accomplished that. So the natural increase in the size of government is something that doesn't have to take place, and hopefully, maybe some savings would be starved into the system. I come back here really for my benefit more than for your benefit, because in Oklahoma, see, there aren't any normal people in Washington. And let's just give you an example.
Scott Pruitt's learning that because he
Scott Pruitt is learning that.
Senator, we always appreciate you flying in, flying out of our local.
I use your airport more than anybody else does.
Thank you for coming, and have a great rest of the session.
You're right. We are going to, and I tell your people that our people, that help is on its way. We have a different America now, and we're going to be behaving differently, and good things are happening.